What's up guys, so while visiting Cedar Point last week, I got my first chance to ride the park's new for 2018 RMC coaster, Steel Vengeance. Since the ride's opening earlier this year, many coaster enthusiasts have called Steel Vengeance their new #1, and I can't say I disagree. In fact, I'd even go as far as to call it the perfect coaster for Cedar Point, but not in the way you may think. It's not a perfect coaster if there even is such a thing, but in terms of taking everything that's great about the park's other coasters and bringing it all into one, Cedar Point hit a home run with Steel Vengeance. So with that, let's take a look at the ride's POV and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. After a few quick bumps of airtime coming out of the station, the ride begins its ascent, and this is where one of my few criticisms comes in. The lift mechanism on this ride is really rough, especially in the first 10 to 20 feet. It doesn't glide you up the hill nicely like Millennium Force, it kinda drags you up like Magnum XL 200. And considering this ride is 30 years younger than Magnum, I think that's a little disappointing. It's also really loud, especially to the people in the ride's queue line, but I know they wanted this ride to draw attention, so I guess that's one way to do it. And on top of all that, it's really slow. Now I don't mind this one as much just because it gives you one of the best views of the park, and it also adds to the anticipation a little bit, just like when you're sitting there on Top Thrill Dragster waiting for it to launch. And the anticipation all comes to a climax here as it accelerates you to the top and then sends you over this drop, and here we'll slow it down just a little bit so we can get a better sense of the elements. It starts you off with this really intimidating 90-degree drop that you can see from all over the park, just like on Valraven. Both drops over 200 feet that push you out of your seat, but I'm not a rapper. Then you hit this quick moment of airtime and head up the second hill and to the right, just like on Millennium Force. Not as much of a bank as on Millennium, but still a pretty thrilling moment nonetheless. Then you come down this hill, gathering more and more speed, going into one of the more unique elements on this coaster. As you hit the peak of the third hill, you'll twist as if you're going left, and then you'll actually stay straight as just like one of the elements from Maverick. And if you're not expecting it, it'll really throw you for a loop. Well, figuratively, not literally. No loops on an RMC, but you can do rolls, and here's one just like on Gatekeeper. No keyholes here though. And then you cut through the lift hill and then go up this little wave-like hill just like on Maverick again, come back through the structure, and then you hit another roll just like on Gatekeeper. This one looks like it's gonna over-rotate, and then it actually straightens itself back out. Then you hit another airtime hill just like one of the many from the park's oldest coaster, Blue Streak. Then the ride calms down a little bit, winding its way up towards the mid-course brake run, and I actually like this brake run because it doesn't lose too much speed. It's kind of like Ruguru, it just gives you a little bit of a breather before heading into the second half. Coming out of the brake run, you dive down to the left, a little bit like the Cedar Creek Mine ride. Then you come back through the structure and you go into two little bumps of airtime, kind of reminded me of the double up in one of the tunnels from Magnum XL 200. Then as you pass by the main drop here, you sway up to the left and then up to the right, kind of like those suspended cars on Iron Dragon. Then you cut back into the structure, do another one of these Maverick-like turns. I'm starting to think that they're a little jealous of their Frontier Town rivals. Then you come into this quick twist here, just like on Raptor, pretty forceful. That'll send you into a few more airtime hills, just like on Magnum again. I swear, before Steel Vengeance, Magnum must have had the most airtime in the park. Then we have another high banking turn here. You guessed it, Maverick. That one's actually a little special though, because there's a bit of sideways airtime in there. Now we have a roll to the right, kind of like on Corkscrew. Then we have our fifth Maverick turn, but I should say that these don't really feel repetitive when you're on the ride. It's pretty much just as thrilling every time. Then you have a quick little turn to the left, just like one on Ruguru, and then you bounce into the grand finale. 5 quick airtime hills popping you out of your seat each time, just like towards the end of Gemini. Even 40 years after Gemini came to Cedar Point, it still is a great way to end a great ride. So 2,558 feet of track later, I've shown you how 13 of Cedar Point's 17 coasters made their impact on Steel Vengeance, but I still have 4 to go. I think it's safe to roll out Wilderness Run and Woodstock Express just because they're considered the park's kiddie coasters, and we all know that Pipe Scream isn't a real roller coaster too, don't we? But then there's Wicked Twister. Now this is a difficult one because it's kind of a one-trick pony, but its queue line runs underneath the ride, and so does Steel Vengeance's, so I think it counts. But regardless, those are my thoughts on Steel Vengeance and how it fits into Cedar Point, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe it was informative, maybe it was interesting, maybe it was entertaining, maybe it was all 3. And if you'd like to hear my thoughts on other things at Cedar Point or other attractions in the area, be sure to check out my channel. That's it for today, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.